It's time for the latest from Germany's domestic football league, the Bundesliga. And for that, we are joined by Kres Harrington, DW Sports Correspondent. Now, Kres, no Jadon Sancho in the starting lineup for Dortmund, but the golden boy winner, Erling Haaland, scored 4 against Hertha Berlin. And as you predicted, we saw the debut of youngster Youssoufa Moukoko. What did you make of that and that history-setting match?
Yeah, well, golden boy Erling Haaland stole the show. You know, he lives up to the hype, match in and match out. He's really remarkable, especially when you factor in his efficiency. He only had 4 shots, on target, 4 goals to walk away. The only drawback, I think, is Dortmund being a one-half team. They went to the break trailing, because Cunha's beautiful long-range shot gave Hertha, the capital club, the advantage. But Dortmund, as they do, they turn things on with an electric performance, and as you mentioned, Jadon Sancho being on the bench, I think that's problematic because what's going to happen with Jadon Sancho? It was just last season, Jadon Sancho was heralded as the high, the biggest prospect, the most expensive price tag in the Bundesliga, and he's only collecting dust right now, and he's kind of proving himself to be expendable. When you look at the performances Dortmund, are leaving the pitch with. And they have a lot of youngsters coming through. Jude Bellingham had an assist in that match. And then, Moukoko is coming, okay? He just turned 16, taking advantage of this new rule the Bundesliga has. He's making history, obviously, becoming the youngest player. He's made history, being the youngest player ever in the Bundesliga to play. He had a few touches. He's actually on the B squad for Dortmund as well in the Champions League. So you could actually see him suit up in that competition as well, get some action, but Dortmund have a lot of young players. They have a wonderful electric array of young talent with Erling Haaland stealing the show, as he's done time in and time out. It'll be interesting to see if this will carry over in the Champions League fixture they have, coming up against Club Brugge, because they had no problem against Club Brugge the first time they met, but they definitely put pressure on Bayern Munich and took advantage of Bayern's slip up. I think it's a shame, though, when you have young, talented players like Jadon Sancho on the bench. You have to figure out, Lucien Favre must have a headache trying to figure out how to solve that enigma. But I think he's going to have to solve it if Dortmund are serious about winning titles. And they look serious right now, considering that performance.
And, with the January transfer window right around the corner, maybe we're seeing the loss of Jadon Sancho for Dortmund and potentially him moving over to United. But you did mention Bayern. They're still top of the table, despite dropping points against Werder Bremen. Were you shocked to see that result?
Yeah, I was a bit shocked. I was shocked really when the lineup was announced to see Javi Martinez, in the midfield. He was getting smoked, all match, in my opinion. He looked a bit too slow to keep up with Josh Sargent, the young American for Werder Bremen, who set up the goal for Max Eggestein. I think that was a shock. Bayern obviously giving players rest, with their Champions League season commencing as well. They have a lot to juggle. And a couple of bad things about Bayern. They had some opportunities. They just had nothing to show for it. Eric Choupo-Moting had an opportunity late in the match, to seal the deal. That's why he was brought in, to really be a joker, to stimulate that offense. He didn't capitalize. David Alaba, Douglas Costa had opportunities. They didn't capitalize. But I expect Bayern to take some lumps here and there. They could actually sacrifice a point or two. It's normal to see the Bundesliga shuffle the top team. It's been that way the last couple of seasons with Bayern finishing on top, and maybe we're just seeing signs of that right now. But you have to give credit to Werder Bremen, for leaving the pitch with a point. Anytime you leave a pitch with a point against the defending champions, it's like a victory. There was something interesting at the end of that game. Lewandowski obviously silent, and he doesn't have that much of a lead in the goal leading category with Erling Haaland having 4 goals. So I'm sure Lewandowski is going to want to step it up. But it looked like Josh Sargent tried to swap jerseys with Lewandowski, after the match. I have to do my research and see if, he was successful in that. But, when you look at the pictures, after the pitch, it looked like he got, the hand in his face and said, come on, kid, think again. But all in all, a great match for Werder Bremen. Bayern Munich, you have to, see what happens. Lucas Hernandez leaving the pitch injured. That's maybe a negative omen, a bad omen for what's to come. He's been bruised all season long, only really getting his opportunity because Alphonso Davies is injured, So we have to see how Bayern moves, how they look moving forward and how they rotate their pieces, but they are in pole position nonetheless.
Now, Chris, elsewhere we saw Leverkusen remain undefeated. They sit in third currently. RB Leipzig, on the other hand, dropped points at Frankfurt. What were your thoughts on those two games?
Leverkusen, I expected them to do Arminia Bielefeld the way they did. Arminia Bielefeld has hit a rut. They've lost a handful of matches in a row. And Leverkusen, good for them. They're in the Europa League, but Leon Bailey is good news for them. Leon Bailey's been scoring goals lately, and they need more than Lucas Hilario to really come through offensively to give Leverkusen an opportunity to shake their moniker of Neverkusen, because that's what they're known as. It's good to see that they're undefeated. They have way too many draws, and that's what sees them in third right now, although they are tied on points with Dortmund, and they're looking good. If they are an electric offense, they do put up opportunities. And we have to see what happens. It's still real early in the season to read too much into where they are on the table. But as I said, Leon Bailey, kind of resurrecting his performance. We haven't seen him, do well in a few seasons in terms of consistent offense. So that's good for them and Peter Bosch and company. And as far as RB Leipzig, I think, they did well to have Yusuf Poulsen, come through and level the game because, Frankfurt, they're tough at home. They haven't lost at home. They're doing really good there. And to level the points, good. They have nothing else to worry about but the Bundesliga. Leipzig are a good squad. They're coached very well. Maybe their focus was on PSG instead of Frankfurt. Who knows? But all in all, with teams competing in Europe, you have to expect teams to leave pitches with some bruising. And that's what we saw, with Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig this past match day. It's Leverkusen and Dortmund who taking advantage, of separating themselves on the table or making up some ground on the table. But it's so tight right now when you look at the numbers. I mean, I expect it to shuffle around a bit more before the winter break. And I expect teams, to get their bumps and bruises. And we saw that this match day.
Lastly, what else should we be looking out for? What else has hit Kres's radar this week?
Well, Dortmund, this whole Jadon Sancho thing, one thing did hit my radar. They had a young star before Jadon Sancho in Ousmane Dembele, and they just got some more money from Barcelona. Dortmund do good business. They have more money, in their coffers now, 4.4 million, and that's good. They expect even more because it's an incentive-based. The more appearances Dembele makes, the more money Dortmund makes. So you mentioned the winter transfer window. It's really interesting to see, what will happen with Jadon Sancho and what will happen, with the added value and more money they have. I think Dortmund are in a good position to really change their trends and stop being that team that's just a launching pad and that team that's serious about sticking around and dethroning Bayern Munich. So, a lot to focus on right now. And plus, Champions League action this week. So that's another reason to get your popcorn ready.
Thank you very much for the Bundesliga update, Mr. Kres Harrington. We'll see you next week when we rejoin our partner station, DW in Berlin, Germany. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you. You as well.